Hello, welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Congrats to Dave P. You win the first commenter of the day award. You basically won nothing, Dave, except our love and our respect. Yeah. And thank you for being first. Matt Deckert, you just lost today. Chris Slemmer, good afternoon, sir. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Kind of a lot to get to today on this, cusp of February.
The last day of January.
And we have, as you see here on our countdown, only 14 days remain. 13 if you're Renee and you count travel day to Clearwater for the players. 14 for the rest of us when we can hear mitts popping as pitchers and catchers report to Clearwater. And a mere 57 days away from opening day versus those stinking Braves. And I'll just say it right now. If they come out and sweep the Braves, I'm going to get irrational as hell and nobody will be able to contain me. All right? So I'm just making that declaration now. If they sweep the Braves, I'm going to get nuts.
Okay. Jamie, we only have 11 months left of 2024. Okay. Which is wild because 2025 will be here before we know it.
I mean, as soon as you become a parent, time kind of black out.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
time does not exist
anymore.
No,
it's just like, I'm like, my daughter's about to be 5. How the hell did that happen?
I know.
5 years just gone.
See, that's why I do the countdowns like this, because this is the last time it'll ever be January 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And yes, we did use my countdown app today, so Renee did not have to do the math.
Nobody said that, by the way. You didn't have to clarify that.
It's just right here.
I have it written down. I actually have a system.
Uh-huh.
The issue was Jamie doesn't give me time to update that system.
Well, I see the panic every day when I'm like, Renee, how many days remaining now? And you're like, oh God, the weekend. Well, Friday was this, Saturday was this.
The weekend throws a damper in things. I have to recalculate every Monday.
There's an easier way to do this. But now,
once we hit Monday, I'm good. Like I have it. I copy and paste and I subtract one day every day.
Yeah.
That's it. It works beautifully.
Well, it was funny. I just got this app and then I plugged in the dates and it went, this is how many days. And it automatically just does that for me.
Listen, I'm not conforming to AI and all the technology because
AI's letting me down. They're on my shit list right now.
Yeah, as they should be, because I know you guys are talking about the City Connect jerseys and
they
bother
get right
us
into them.
For sure. But what also bothers me is when people are so quick to do some basic human things. We don't need technology for everything. Like technology doesn't enough for us.
As somebody that goes into the bank still and sends some bills out in the mail with actual stamps, I agree with you. But when there's such a simple thing as a countdown clock app, use it.
There's also math. Like you need to stimulate your brain.
Spiral Out? Yeah.
And so
my brain's already pretty dumb. The paths in the my brain, they're all done.
Yeah.
They're done exploring
Jamie
in my mind.
is driving today. We figured that out also. Don't you worry.
All right. So let's
drive us into the first topic of the day, Jamie.
I hope. Look, there's no confirmation that this is real yet. It's from a guy on Twitter, and I want to give him credit because he found it on eBay. It's a very tough name to say. His name is Mo, at GOTTAGOT_MOS. All right, so that guy put out a picture that already has, let me see here.
It's gotta
it's approaching 500,000 views already.
Gotta go to _Mo's.
Oh, it is gotta go to Mo's.
It's the old Modell slogan.
He's the Modell's era.
Gotta go to Mo's.
I love those commercials.
Yeah, his name is literally
Gotta go to Mo's. Okay, so gotta go to Mo's.
Best worst job I've ever had.
You worked at Mo's?
Oh yeah,
really?
I feel like
yes,
everybody knows somebody that.
What was the discount at Modell's for the employees?
20% on 15%, and then 10% on discounted items.
Okay. All right. Well, gotta go to Mo's on Twitter with an underscore somewhere in there. Said he found what he thinks is a Philly City Connect jersey leaked through eBay. He tagged Fanatics at Phillies Northeast store, and Nike in the tweet. It has about 400,000 views. It is spreading like wildfire, and there is the front of it. Now, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Now, I'm going to reserve the right to see how it actually looks on the players with the hat on, if this is actually the jersey. The colors I don't mind. I think blue and yellow can be good. This to me looks like part Union jersey, part mid-90s tap-out gear, part trash. I hate the font. The patch on the side with the Love Park thing and the Philly P is the O is okay, I guess. The back of the jersey is actually good. I like the name and the number, but the front is just terrible. Renee, you're way more fashion inclined than I am. I pretty much wear hoodies and quarter zips and golf shirts. Your thoughts on...
You know.
I am a simple man, Renee. Give me a uniform daily like, not Jeff Bezos. Who's the iPhone guy? Brain farting hard.
Jobs?
Yeah, Steve Jobs. He just wore the same thing every day.
Oh, are you Steve?
No, but like I get the thinking of like, I don't want to waste any time thinking about what I'm going to wear today. Just give me the same thing that I'm comfortable in and day out.
Jamie, you and I are on the same wavelength there. Catholic school did us so dirty in terms of how to dress properly, because when you wear the same shirt, tie, and sweater.
Flynn O'Hare, borderline uncomfortable gray trousers with a maroon.
The 85-pound shoes that you could use as weapons.
All right, Renee, so obviously Tyler and I are fashion handicapped here. What is your thoughts here?
So there's a couple things here, and I'm putting on my detective hat because I low-key am a detective. Now, on this jersey, as you talk about the detailing, I do see a Nike tag on the neck.
And there's a price tag of $175.
And there's a price tag. But what I do also know about eBay is is where people are selling things that they either own or made. It's your own little marketplace. So that takes away a lot of credibility from this. If this was Fanatics, I'd feel a little bit more confident that this is absolutely something that's leaked.
It is eBay, on the heels of apparently release time. Like we are approaching like that area.
Absolutely. The timing it makes it scary. But gotta go to _Mose sharing this in his home. It could be something that he made. It could be. There's so many things.
I don't think so. I don't think he's that like. Who is that much time? Like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. We just heard a terrible story about a terrible person. Like people have time to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I saw a beheading last night. Not the actual beheading, but a head.
I wasn't gonna say it because I didn't want to traumatize the viewers the way you traumatized Tyler.
Well, I saw it right before
myself.
sleep. You know what's more pleasant than you're going to sleep than seeing a head. Shout out to the family in Bucks County. That's horrible. Thinking of you today.
Yeah. The patch on the sleeve says Philadelphia, City of Brotherly Love. The love is okay, as you mentioned, it's got the Liberty Bell as the O.
Or the Liberty Bell, not the P, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just sent it to Tyler. He's gonna show it on the screen. That stuff's fine.
Okay, wait, but I'm just trying to say, in terms of credibility, it does say engineered on the tag down low. It does look like it's real.
Yeah,
it's got
it looks like it's real.
Phillies logo on it. It absolutely looks like a fake Union knockoff from their Navy jersey. I don't love the tie-dye of the light blue into the dark blue.
I don't mind that. I think that could translate.
That's the least of the issues.
Yeah, like I think in the sun and in the field, like the color could work.
But just looking at that font, that's not something I want to see on a jersey. But I do feel like, if anything, I could see them having Philly because they want to tap into, like, nobody calls this Philadelphia.
That would make sense.
Philly makes sense to me. Yeah. But I cannot stand the font, the P, all of it. It's just weird.
I think if you change the font, I'd be okay-ish with it.
Yeah, it could grow on. I honestly love the light blue. That's my favorite color. There's the close up
back
of it,
and
that's the patch.
I like the numbers
City of Philadelphia
and the yellow
City
letters.
Of Brotherly Love.
Like I think that looks good.
Yeah, the back looks better than the front.
Yeah, by far.
It's got a look of like a soccer jersey mixed in with a baseball, and I don't know that I like. What pants do you wear with this? Like what else? Like what's the hat look like? I think that's
I'm really curious about the hat.
I think I need the full look of like what is the socks, hat, pants combo.
Got to go to Moe's does not have any of that.
Yeah, so that's what I need to wait for. But right now, the colors are interesting.
Can I just say
why navy? Why are we tapping into the flag so much?
Why do we have to use the city flag? No Philadelphian cares about the city flag. Really knows what it is. You see some down by City Hall.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of our only connection to it. Nobody really cares. Those Eagles jerseys were awful. The blue and yellow Union jerseys, not our favorites.
I like the blue and yellow.
I do like blue and yellow as a combo. It's just like this has a chance to be cool. If this is real,
I think there'd be a better way if you want to like an ombre look, because that's the vibe they're going for here. Ombre of like the light blue, slowly transitions into the navy blue. I think there would have been a cleaner way to do it that looks a little bit more 2024. That's probably my only gripe, as I've been hearing that word a lot lately, with the actual colors of it. I actually don't mind the navy, light blue, yellow pairing. I think those colors look well together, but the light blue just kind of stops. It's a weird ombre.
Is it going to be light blue pants?
That's a
dark blue hat with a yellow like Liberty Bell?
I think you have, a dark blue hat.
Like if the Liberty Bell's on the sleeve, it's probably going to be on the hat. I would assume.
That Liberty, but okay, that patch though, it looks like Lou. It doesn't even look like love. The V looks like a U. I guess my issue is with this is
you're
that
not buying
doesn't
this jersey for $175.
No, I'm buying nothing. My issue is it just does not look like a professional jersey.
No, somebody just said it looks like a minor league jersey.
Yeah,
I forget who that was.
It doesn't give me Major League Baseball or any professional league jersey. It looks like something I would see at like T-ball or something. Maybe not that low, but
it looks gimmicky.
It's very gimmicky. It's very like travel, baseball team. Like I'm not getting these. We spent all this money on jersey that we're going to put, $1 million athletes in. You could have did better. The patch is very like basic.
I hope Gotta Go to Moe's is just messing with everybody and just pulled a great.
I think maybe he's trying to sell them. Maybe he made them. I'm gonna go stalk him a little bit more.
My gut says it's real. Because like the timing of this, like right around when it's supposed to come out, and I don't know. Some teams.
So he did also follow up his tweet saying few reasons why he thinks this is legit. He said this jersey is in the new Nike limited template for baseball in 2024. He said the Major League Baseball and Nike logos are correct, which counterfeit jerseys usually get wrong, and the packaging and price tags all look correct. And he did post pictures of the packaging that he received this in for $175, and it does actually look
that's a listed
real.
price. Do you think that's what he paid on eBay, or is somebody selling hot gear on eBay? Because there was a DHgate one that was maroon that came out the other day. That was okay. It was far from great, but this one is in line with the blue and yellow because Todd Zalecki and I believe it was Tim Kelly from Phillies Nation had that it was going to be blue and gold. Like so that comes from credible reporters. So this is more in line with what we know than the maroon alleged leaked ones on DHgate the other day. So.
Yeah.
Not that I was going to run out and buy one, but, to me, the hat is probably what I would buy. So I guess there's still hope for the hat. But I think everybody's reaction on Twitter that I saw this morning was like, this ain't it.
Because we're gearing up for this big reveal, and this is what the reveal is. Like we waited all this time, and this is it.
Do you remember? I don't know if either of you guys remember, like early '90s when in Charles Barkley's last seasons here, Sixers came out with that terrible like shooting star, super busy white and red jersey. It was just like hideous.
What year was that, Jamie?
I want to say like 91, 92.
Bingo. I just wanted you to. I don't remember from being alive at that time. No offense. Not to make you.
Yeah, they were the pre Tyler and Renee days.
I remember that from when I was older. It was like throwback to pre-birth. That was definitely pre-Tyler and Renee.
To pre-birth, did you say?
Wow.
Because you had those. I mean, we know a lot of sports history that was before we were alive.
Before I continue, can you just pull the shank out of my side? God damn.
I just want to clarify. I don't remember as if I was there when it happened day one.
All you could have said was, I know the jersey you're talking about. You didn't have to go with I wasn't born yet, you old bastard, you. But, okay, that's fine. We can move on. I can get past this. I'm old enough to be mature enough to move past this, Renee. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Listen, Mickey Durkin puts a statement out there. He says Jamie for president. And let's be honest. We all know that Jamie is the only one in this room who is legally allowed to run for president.
Damn.
Ouch. See, I didn't do that.
Is there a minimum age?
35.
35?
Yeah.
Cool, guys.
I'm close.
Yeah.
I can almost be president.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, Charles Barkley, when those jerseys came out, they were getting roasted. There was no social media back then. In my day, there was no social media. But those jerseys got shredded, and Charles Barkley was asked about it, and he said, this looks like something. No, I'm not going to do it. This looks like something my 6-year-old daughter made with crowns.
Right, and that's the issue. These are supposed to be professional jerseys that you have $1 million athletes wearing, and they literally look like something that I'd see on a middle school team.
Did you ever see the SNL skit about Avatar? I forget who the actor is that's sitting in, but it might be Ryan Gosling, and he's seeing a psychiatrist, and it's about Avatar and how much money it costs to create and make, and how it's this grandiose movie and all this. And Ryan Gosling's like, whatever the font was that Avatar is using, he goes,
yes.
but he just used whatever font. And he can't get over that this much money was put into the movie, and they use this Microsoft Word basic font,
exactly.
And it's a really funny skit. This jersey kind of reminds me of that, but the font,
it's the font.
You did all these marketing,
right.
execs, and the Phillies stand to make a lot of money on this, so they want it to be
this?
good. Yeah, and I'm
multiple people sat in a room and said, "That's the one, that's the font, that's the look."
Yeah.
Yeah, the font is definitely, I think, what everybody for the most part is
terrible.
stuck on. The ombre, again, I'm not a huge fan. I just think there could have been so many cleaner ways. I've seen some really good ombre jerseys that nicely transition into the color. This looks very cheap. It doesn't look great at all.
Here's your quote from that skit, by the way. They clicked the drop-down menu and randomly selected papyrus like a thoughtless child just wandering by a garden, yanking leaves along the way.
That's what Dave got in the chat, papyrus font.
Yeah, the papyrus font. It's really funny because Ryan Gosling's being so serious, and he's talking to the psychiatrist, and he's like, papyrus? Papyrus. I just can't get over it. And that's kind of how I feel with this jersey.
I actually like the maroon mock-up better than I do. It was just simple. It was clean. I can picture it.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Matt Deckert caught it, and I might as well just get in front of this. Yes, I say crowns.
I say crown also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler?
It's not crayon.
Crayon.
What is that?
Crayons
No,
for tryhards.
Crayon.
It's crown.
It's crown.
It's crown.
I'm going to Crayon's website.
No.
Crayola's website.
Well, if you want to be a tryhard, sure, it's crayon.
It's like there's certain words. Drawer, crown,
Bura,
bagel. You say bagel sometimes.
www.crayola.com. Webster's Dictionary states the proper way to pronounce crayon is in 2 syllables. Cray.
I say 2 syllables.
Crown.
Crown.
Crown is 3 syllables.
Crown.
Who wants to say crayon?
My
That's
wife
Crayola. It's like you arguing with Uno what the Uno rules are.
My mother passed it down to me.
And people do.
I am trying not to pass it on to my daughters, but I slip, and I'm a crown guy.
It's a crown.
It's a crown.
Because it just sounds cooler. Go color with some crowns versus I'm going to go color with some crayons.
Yeah.
Was it clay or crayons?
Nerds.
Just weird.
Yeah. So anyway,
I know you won't know that. I'm just
Is it SpongeBob?
It is.
Do you and Tyler have some secret pact to make a SpongeBob reference once a day that I'm unaware of?
There's a keyword. You have to figure out what the keyword is, and then we say the SpongeBob
Is that another
reference.
SpongeBob reference?
No, it's not.
It's just, we were actually talking about it yesterday. It's wild the amount of things that remind us of a SpongeBob episode.
Yeah, I guess that's like Seinfeld for me. Like I can go daily and.
Okay.
Are you don't Renee? You've already shanked me once with the age thing
So
today.
baseball.
No, I'm not a Seinfeld fan.
Baseball. Yes, in a little bit, we're going to have Michael Baumann from FanGraphs joining us. He's a local South Jersey guy that is a FanGraphs writer. I'm fascinated by kind of baseball and analytics and like how in-depth some people get in FanGraphs. Tyler's on it daily. He loves it. So we're going to talk to him in a little bit about the Phillies and about FanGraphs and about, prospect rankings and zips, projections and all this stuff that they use. It's pretty crazy.
Before we get into numbers, let's talk about somebody else that helps you with numbers. That's Mortgage CS, which stands for Mortgage Concierge Service. They're an independent mortgage broker based right here in Philadelphia. They give you full control over the lenders that you work with, as well as providing 24/7 customer service. And the great thing about Mortgage CS that I enjoy is they also take time to educate and empower their clients. They want to make sure you have as much information as you possibly can. You feel comfortable. They help to alleviate and minimize the stress, because house buying is a process. It's a very long process, and Mortgage CS will be there with you every step of the way. So here to help their clients, find those ultra competitive rates and making sure that you can reach out anytime. They also compare rates between multiple lenders to help find a deal that makes the most sense for you. Now, over at Mortgage CS, you can reach out 24/7, call, text, email. Their CEO, Ben, has even provided you his personal phone number. If you want to reach out and chat with Ben, you can do so at 267-391-7425. Maybe ask him how to pronounce crayon. Maybe,
I'm gonna ask.
I did it.
Ooh.
Maybe ask him how to pronounce crown. Oh my God.
Yeah, say, Ben, are you a crown or crayon guy?
Ask him what he thinks about the City Connect jerseys, because over at Mortgage CS, Ben and Alec are always there for you. You can also reach out via email, ben@mortgagecs.com, to be able to chat with Ben. And morning, noon, afternoon, evening, night, doesn't matter the time of day, Ben is always available to chat with you. So over at Mortgage CS, you can check them out at mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started today. And they can help provide as much information, easy to use tools, and really alleviate the process for you in your house buying process. Now, this advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information.
Dave P., I want to circle back on your Steven Seagal comment in one section because he fascinates me. Wheelhouse Cards, though, I got to tell you about that. If Steven Seagal was in Philadelphia and he was a card head, he would go to Wheelhouse Cards because he gets it. They have two great locations in Wayne and Westchester, and it's our go-to sports card, gift, and apparel shop in the Delaware Valley. It's more than a sports card store. They got tons of great gear, and their motto is cards and community, because a love of sports unites us all. That's why we're here today, hanging out pre-lunch. They have tons of your favorite card brands like Topps Chrome Baseball, Mosaic Football, as well as some really great gear from such brands like Mitchell & Ness, 47 brand, Junk Food, Starter, and one of my personal favorites, the throwback to my time, Renee, pre-1991 with the Shy Vintage Sports. They got some great stuff. So, and if you're looking to have your sports card collection graded, well, Wheelhouse simplifies things for you. They offer PSA grading submissions. They also host a ton of different family-friendly events and birthday parties every single month. So if your kid is a card head or you're a card head, go have your birthday party there. You'll have a blast. So stop into either of their stores in Wayne or Westchester. Open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. Use code PHLY and get $10 off any purchase of $25 or more in store. And be sure to give them a follow on Instagram at Wheelhouse Cards. So the chat is saying no baseball talk, all off the rails. And I saw a comment about Steven Seagal, and it just so happens this past weekend, I'll have to show you guys after the show, I guess he was doing some, he's like taekwondo or karate, and he's so fat and immobile these days.
No.
It was him like doing his moves
like
and
now.
like I don't know if he was getting a new belt or just doing like a showcase. And he's like throwing this guy, his sparring partner, but you can tell the sparring partner is like flipping himself.
Oh, no.
And Steven Seagal's just like walking around like
And the guy's like
throwing himself like left and right. We were dying watching it this weekend.
Can we just for a moment
talk baseball? No.
Talk about how Steven Seagal, Sylvester Stallone, there's a whole era of actors that we were. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Get to the chopper.
Like, we were just so determined to make them these macho. No, I do actually. We were so determined to make them these macho, handsome.
Were they handsome?
Men, and
I guess
Sly
was.
No, I was watching recently.
But I don't think they were like marketed as beefcakes. They were just muscleheads.
I was watching, I forget the name of it. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. And
True Lies. It's
True
awesome.
Lies. It was just on the other day.
Movie.
Demolition Man was on with Sylvester Stallone
Which
just the other day.
Was that you tweeting about how ahead of its time it was?
Yes, they had driving cars.
Yeah.
They had the Lamborghini doors.
Yeah.
Is that how cars work? Driving cars?
But did you ever figure out how the shells work in the bathroom?
No, I still don't know what that means.
I don't really know what that is either.
Are now they like real seashells? Because I'm concerned.
Poop and pee in the shells?
But they were like beside it instead of toilet paper. It was shell. It was three
so
shells
do you
beside
shell
the toilet.
your ass
That's what I'm
clean
trying to.
it?
But then, like, what do you do with the shells? Does everybody
Are they
use
disposable?
the shells?
It's a great question. We never got to the bottom of this.
And I needed them to answer that. So, anyways, I was watching both of those movies, and Demolition Man. I'm sorry, it was self-driving cars. They had Zoom meetings and everything, where the guy was in a room with all computer screens and it was people's faces. Way ahead of their time.
Was that pre or post
93.
Wesley tax evasion? That was pre, right?
I think it was pre. Yeah. But anyways, I'm looking at them like there's nothing attractive about these men.
I mean, they were all jacked.
But they were jacked. And so they had Arnold Schwarzenegger walking with like, his shirt was like slit in different spots and he was sweating and he was like slow-mo walking through like fire and stuff. I'm like, is this supposed to be
Dave P says
sexy?
Use the shells to scoop. From where to where, though?
Oh, no. We're not doing this right now.
What? Yeah, I still don't get it. How do you clean? Anyway.
I don't think we should go this route because
it sounds painful.
I don't think
instead of white. Yeah, but I don't get it.
Again, I just feel like they always had them. I'm just gonna skip over that comment because I don't know what the seashells. I thoroughly have tried to rack my brain around it, and none of it makes sense.
Steven Seagal, I don't think was ever supposed to be sexy.
I hope
Arnold,
not. Arnold definitely was supposed to be sexy.
You want to get real off the rails? Have you ever seen Arnold's illegitimate son with his housekeeper? You just Google image Arnold's housekeeper's son.
Have you seen The Housekeeper?
How did nobody know it was his kid?
Okay, have you seen The Housekeeper?
I think I have.
Probably
like
should add
it is a clone of Arnold from some like Portuguese woman.
Yeah.
Like how did his family not know?
Yeah. I mean,
he came out with a six-pack and like traps. So I don't know if they were sex symbols or not. They were just beefy boys.
Literally, I don't know, guys. I wasn't of age at that time to know whether or not they were considered.
I think more like Mel Gibson was like the '90s heartthrob, and like
Mel Gibson wasn't he had that like attractive
Harrison
dad
Ford.
look. Oh yeah, he's a looker.
I think Michael Douglas. Some ladies were into, but who's the other guy? Kurt Russell. I think those were like the heartthrobs. I think those guys were more like meatheads.
Patrick Swayze,
yeah, of course. Kurt Russell comes from a long line of baseball. I think he played minor league ball. He was like a really good baseball player.
There is a baseball connection.
Yeah, I think Kurt Russell's dad was like a minor league coach. I think he might have been a hitting coach. There's like deep ties to baseball within the Russell family. So there you go. There's our rabbit hole before we get to our guest today.
I love the Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn.
Are they still together?
I feel like I heard they're not.
Okay, I don't know. Are they Kate Hudson?
Yeah.
Parents? Okay.
They have a whole line of like
her.
Actors. Oh,
Penny Lane?
I know.
What up?
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was just on the other day too.
Never really seen
Kate
it.
Hudson.
I mean, just because I like her
Matt
doesn't mean I
McConaughey.
watch all of her movies.
You didn't want to see that one? It was a rom-com? I'm
good.
I think you should watch it. You'd appreciate it.
Well, we can ask our next guest
Freddie Prinze Jr. now. Freddie Prinze Jr. was along my
Summer
time.
Catch. Jessica.
Yeah.
Did you see what Jessica Biel's getting in the news for? She said she's obsessed, and Michael's probably watching right now like, what the F are you guys talking?
Oh my gosh,
Jessica Biel has gone viral because she said she loves drinking and eating in the shower. She likes to eat, and she brings food in with her, and she'll bring an espresso in the shower. And like, while I wouldn't do it, I kind of see where she's coming from.
First of all, let's also keep in mind her shower is probably the size of this room.
Yes, she can probably.
Like, she doesn't have the ordinary cramped shower with a shower.
Up and down
like, it doesn't have a shower curtain. Yeah. It's like probably this glass, beautiful shower where she's got room to do any activity. But eating in the shower, I feel like, is a messy thing.
Well, I mean, the shower beer is just like a top 3 beer. So, like, I kind of
do like the shower wine, I will say.
Like the sensation of something cold while you're in a hot environment.
I think it's the food that's doing it for me.
I think it's the perfect segue to our next guest.
Yeah.
And excited to have him on. He is a local Phillies fan, but he is a FanGraphs staff writer. He's been cracking me up on Twitter for a while now. His name is Michael Baumann. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Michael?
You are. Very good.
All right. Nailed it. Good start.
Look at you.
So what we've talked about so far today are the crown versus crayon, eating in the shower, and the ALLCITY Connect possible leaked jerseys that seem to be circulating online.
And 90s actors.
And 90s actors.
I caught the end of the Demolition Man conversation.
Do you get the shells? I still don't get it.
I mean, I could talk about Demolition Man all day. I think
Such a good
whoever
movie.
said it was scooping, I think was on the right track.
But how do you clean?
3 shells?
It's 3
Three
shells.
shells, yeah.
3 shells, yeah.
But do you just throw them out? Are they replaced right after somebody goes?
Shells, you imagine they're pretty substantial.
Big old conch shells, yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Wild.
This is the future. I'm sure they're all into reusable technology and stuff.
True. This is true.
So, Michael, FanGraphs is something we go to regularly. We use all the time. We've been doing some down on the farm reports on the Phillies prospects here, and we use the FanGraphs as a guide to help us. You guys do phenomenal work over at FanGraphs. I've always been curious, as somebody that lives and breathes it daily, what do you think the nerdiest baseball thing FanGraphs does is? Because there's so much information, and I say that in an endearing way. What do you think is like the nerdiest thing you guys do?
There are levels of people. Well, no, the real answer to this is we've got a whole fantasy arm, and those people are dorks. Like just going that deep with fantasy baseball every day is something that even I'm like, okay, like, I need to go outside before I start thinking about fantasy baseball that seriously. But the serious answer is all of the like pitch design and biomechanical stuff. It's stuff that I can understand other people writing about, but we've got people, not even, full-time people, but contributors who are experts in this who, deal with not even like going the step beyond spin rate, but like understanding mechanically or grip wise how a pitch comes out of your hand or hitting mechanics and stuff like that. Just the level of detail. I think it's one of the challenges for us is making that kind of stuff legible to people who are only there because they're interested in seeing what their favorite team is doing.
Okay, so it makes me wonder what it's really like behind the scenes that we don't know. We see the stats, we see the numbers, there's a stat for literally everything. What is it that's the process, I should say, behind the scenes that from the outside world we don't realize that goes into crunching these numbers, keeping track of them? Is there somewhere that all this is just kind of logged and housed? How are you guys efficiently getting these up-to-date numbers so quickly?
So the answer to that is a lot of it is pretty plug and play. Once you come up with once you figure out how you're going to, just take WAR, for example, or WRC plus, these stats that are in common usage now have been around for 20 years and, they get tweaked and refined and stuff. But in terms of updating the stats, it's all, automatic scraping from Major League Baseball. The numbers that you see on Baseball Savant, MLB's site, like a lot of that gets ported into our numbers, into Baseball Prospectus and other, basically every other site that uses data-based analysis. So we've got a team of people who do that, and then it's my job and the other people sort of on the writing end to take those numbers and find stories, find narratives in it, do analysis and make it all make sense. So the actual coming up with the stats, it's a relatively small part of the day-to-day thing. Every so often I'll download a data set and poke around and see what's going on, but a lot of it is really just the same kind of sports writing that you find in just in a process perspective, the same kind you find at The Athletic or The Inquirer.
Yeah. Now, Michael, there's so much debate. Analytics have always existed. It's just how they're applied now directly to teams, and how fans, I think, are way more educated than they were 15, 20 years ago when it comes to stuff like this. And it's all a credit to, the FanGraphs of the world and other analytical driven sites. If I was to ask you, we're sitting at a bar having a beer at happy hour, what is the most telling offensive stat to you about a player? And the same for a pitcher. What two stats do you look at where you go, that's the most important thing, the rest I can kind of, leave or take or whatever?
Pitching is tough because there's you're really asking two separate questions about pitchers. And this is, a question that's been researched in sabermetric circles for 20, 25 years, is there are pitchers' results, and then there's what the pitcher can control, and finding out where that line is. Like, everybody who watches baseball sees line drives go for outs, or bloop singles, or they miss bad calls, or defense, ballpark, all that plays a big environment. So, or big example. So, FanGraphs has been one of the sites that's sort of been at the forefront of trying to find that line, and there are different approaches. I would say, most of the time I just look at, for pitchers, ERA and then strikeout and walk rate, and that sort of gives you a decent idea. And it's all very basic, but it gives you a decent idea of how the pitcher goes about doing what he's doing and how effective it is. And then once you have those numbers, you can sort of look at batted ball data, ground ball, fly ball ratio, and look at the pitcher's repertoire as well. Because throwing harder or throwing with more spin is not necessarily better. You have to command it. You have to have pitches that play off each other. So being at that sort of bleeding edge is tougher now than it was 20 years ago. For hitters, it's very reactive, and they don't have as much control over the process. So a weighted runs created plus, I think, is the best. It gives you a simple number. It's an integer. 100 is league average. It's very, very easy to understand. And so it's no more intimidating than something like batting average if you're just looking at the leaderboard. And what that does is basically every event has a discrete run value throughout baseball history. So a single is worth X, a strikeout is worth Y, and all of that sort of you tally them up into a linear weight system and come out with that number adjusted for league and park, and you get this very easy to digest number.
Awesome.
Wow. So we've been talking every day, doing a daily dive into prospects for the Phillies, and talking also a lot about how when you look over the years, we've had prospects that have panned out and some that have not. So similar to Jamie's question, but more prospect focused, is there a consistent stat line that you've noticed helps a prospect's talents translate well into the majors?
So that's a good question, because I think the first thing you have to understand about like serious prospect analysis is the numbers don't matter. Like batting average, obviously, like you want your pitchers to be striking guys out, you want your hitters to be hitting for a high average. But in terms of numbers, what we're getting is batted ball data, so like exit velocity, launch angle, and aggregate that even into the low minors now. And so there's a big, you're seeing a lot of big prospect misses. Elijah Green was a top 5 pick with the Nationals. Big, strong, athletic guy. Looked like he might be the next Aaron Judge. Put up huge power numbers. And scouts could see there was swing and miss in the profile. He gets to the pros, and just you can look at, once you get him in front of these high-speed cameras and these advanced pitch tracking stuff, you could just see that there's just nothing there in terms of hitting. And you find that out really quickly once you go from amateur baseball to the pros. So if you're scouting, you can look at spin rate, velocity. A lot of college teams now have these kind of advanced pitch tracking systems that we use in Major League Baseball. If you can get your hands on the data, that's good. But it's so dependent on context. Like there are leaps that each individual prospect has to make once he gets promoted to a certain level. And a lot of, prospect analysis is guesswork until you see how the player does against that next level of competition up.
All right, before I get to my real question, Michael, we have a bobblehead nut in our chat, and he cannot pinpoint the bobbleheads behind you on the shelf. Would you reveal to us who you have
They're
back
going
there?
crazy in the chat.
So this is, I think that's Cole Hamels in front of that stack of books, and Placido Polanco. And the one in the middle, so about 80% of my bobbleheads are Atlanta Braves bobbleheads because my wife is from Georgia. My in-laws live a few miles from the Braves ballpark, and my mother-in-law is an avid Atlanta Braves fan. So she goes to all the bobblehead games. She and her husband get to. She always sends me one because she thinks it's hilarious to fill my office with Braves gear as a Phillies fan.
You can tell your mother-in-law it's not a laughing matter. The Braves ruined my childhood in the 90s.
Yeah, we did like
We've
you.
had it out. I would say it's one of the bigger conflicts that I have with my in-laws, who are wonderful people, but there's just this one thing that.
All right, now my real question. If we had this conversation last year, you obviously would have said Brandon Marsh and Bryson Stott were due to take this statistical leap and emerge as really good players. Brandon Marsh took a huge leap last year, as did Stott. If you were looking at this Phillies team going into the year, is there a guy that kind of jumps out to you as maybe being on the cusp of being better? And on the inverse of that, is there a guy that's due for kind of a natural regression?
That's a good question. Maybe the most interesting thing to me about this Phillies team is how static it is. And, we talk about the Braves having locked in their core with all those homegrown players. The Phillies have really done the same thing because they went out and signed all these free agents who are just, you know what you're getting for Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto.
Sorry for the symmetrical drinking of liquids there.
Yeah, that was nice.
We looked at each other like, what the hell was that?
So, Marsh, yeah, his breakout was, I think, that was a mild surprise. I think I would not have predicted he would hit as well as he did. I think the guy that you're looking for, that you're hoping for, Orion Kerkering just hoping to find a strike zone. If he could throw consistent strikes, he could be a weapon. And he was, except for, that bad outing or two in the NLCS, which is all that mattered last season, it turns out. Johan Rojas, he hits the ball pretty hard, but he hits it into the ground. You don't necessarily want a guy that fast hitting it in the air, but he's such a special defender that if he can just talk about WRC plus, 100 is league average. If he can get into the 90s regularly, he could be somebody like a Kevin Kiermaier type of player, but that's far from a sure thing. And the other guy I'm interested in is Chris Sanchez, who was really good and didn't have sort of the hallmark velocity, big, biting, breaking ball. The stuff doesn't jump out at you, but he was incredibly effective last year. And when it came down to it, the Phillies trusted him more in the playoffs than Taijuan Walker, who, you don't think of what he did as being like the $20 million a year pitcher, but he was pretty good last year. There were worse pitchers than him that got playoff starts, and the Phillies sort of overrode the seniority and decided to go with Sanchez in that start against Arizona. He's somebody who I think is probably the most likely Phillies player to take a leap.
Awesome. I'm a big Sanchez guy, so I love hearing that.
Yeah. Let's stick with the pitching side on this. In terms of starting pitchers and also just in the bullpen in general, we've talked a lot about how every once in a while you see the regression, then you see guys take a step forward. Who do you anticipate, one for each starting pitchers? I know you mentioned Sanchez, but also in the bullpen, that this should be their year. We should see more consistent numbers. We should see better strikeout rates, better ERA. Who do you think is going to be that person?
Well, I think the Aaron Nola's number, he's been incredibly consistent, but he had sort of a disappointing aggregate 2023. I expect to see a lot more like we saw in the playoffs in the second half of the season. It seemed like he worked out some kinks in the second half of the year. In terms of guys who could take a leap forward, I'm really, Jeff Hoffman, I think, is seeing whether last season is legit. He was a huge prospect coming out of East Carolina, couldn't stay healthy, got traded around a bunch. He was in that same draft class with Schwarber and Trey Turner and a couple other guys, and he's really just putting it together now, and he looks like he could be special, maybe filling into the role that Craig Kimbrell held last year.
That's great. So this is a question from our producer, Tyler, when we were talking pre-show. Last year, if you looked at maybe Skubal in Detroit or Logan Webb out in San Fran, they kind of took that next step and became, I don't want to say household names, but pretty close to becoming that. Is there a guy, when you do your work for this upcoming season, around baseball that you think is really on the cusp of becoming that all-star, that household name type of player? Who would that be?
maybe this is like a level below what you're asking, but I think a player that more people need to know is Andrew Abbott. He's a left-hander with the Cincinnati Reds, sort of a college pitchability guy out of University of Virginia. Interesting fastball shape. He's gotten overshadowed in the Red system because they've got Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green and guys who jump out at you a lot more. He was so effective last year, and if he could be durable, sort of at taking that next step forward, I think that he's a guy, maybe not like the pitcher to watch in all of baseball, but I think he's really, really underrated.
Love that.
Well, my last question for you, and it's been great chatting with you. You've been giving so many awesome answers, and your thoughts are fantastic. A lot of the baseball world's talking about the same teams, storylines, headlines, and I'm not asking for a hot take because this is one that is going to be more based on facts and information that you've been seeing. What is a storyline that you feel like people may be missing, an underrated player or team, or just a thought that you have for the 2024 season that others may not be noticing that you've been kind of keeping on your radar?
I think one thing that's just come out in the last 24 hours is this Orioles sale. I think, that's going to be a major story. I don't think people appreciate how good their young core of position players is. I mean, they won 100 games last year, won probably the toughest division in baseball with a pretty bad pitching staff, all things considered. And they've got three guys right now, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, and Jackson Holliday, who's going to come up. All three of those guys are best prospect in baseball type guys, all coming up playing up the middle positions at the same time. And then you've got a number of other, sort of top 50 global prospect guys in corner outfield positions, Heston Kjerstad, Colton Cowser, in addition to a bunch of other solid regulars that they've developed internally, and they've done nothing to supplement it in terms of going out and buying pitching. I thought if I were running the Orioles, I would have given Aaron Nola every dollar he asked for in order to get him down there. I think they need that type of pitcher, just a regular 180 inning type 1 or 2 starter, and they just haven't done it. And it's been just a garbage ownership situation. If that changes, if the new owner comes in and revitalizes that team, like we could see them doing to the American League East what the Braves have done to the National League East.
Yeah, I went to school in D.C. and knew a lot of Maryland kids that gave up their Orioles fandom because of the Angelos family and jumped to the Nationals. Call that what you will. They're down bad down there in Baltimore.
They should jump back.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I told them because the Nationals stink now. Do you think there's any chance, last one, that they go get a Montgomery, a Snell, or do you think that ship has sailed?
I think it all depends on money. They've spent so little. I think that somebody like Blake Snell makes a lot of sense for them as somebody who can lead a playoff rotation. Montgomery, in terms of the combination of volume and quality, is probably the best thing in this free agent class if you couldn't get Nola or Yoshinobu Yamamoto. If they're empowered to spend, they're spending nothing right now. So they've got the money. It's just a matter of getting buy-in from ownership. And we'll see if it's an awkward time until the sale goes through. So we'll see.
I lied. Not the last one. Blake Snell. Kind of a fascinating statistical case study. Mm-hmm. His 2 outlier years are Cy Young Awards, the cream of the crop. High walk rate, a lot of other things. Strikeouts low, doesn't go deep in games. How do you view him from kind of the FanGraphs point of view? Because he's very fascinating. He
is maybe... His last season really illustrated like the difference between results and what the pitcher can control. He's the guy who really straddles that line. It's because he works the edges of the zone. So when he's on, he's going to be unhittable, but when he's not, he's going to walk the world. And he did both last season. And so the way I view pitching, I'm going to give you kind of a long answer as you're trying to get me off the air. I apologize.
We got no rush.
The way you should view pitching is there are 2 types of pitchers. There are pitchers who get you to the playoffs by pitching quality volume in the regular season. And there are guys you can trust in to start and go 6 innings in a playoff game. And the rarest pitchers in baseball are guys like Wheeler and Nola who can do both. Snell is probably as good as it gets in terms of he can win you a playoff game, but the durability is, it's not even the 2 outlier years. Those are the only 2 years he's thrown 130 innings in the majors, and he's won the Cy Young both times. So he's a fascinating player. He's one of the most interesting pitchers in baseball, very polarizing player. I profiled him for an old job when he was with the Rays. He's always been a nice guy to me, but he's polarizing in terms of how much people like watching him, and it's understandable. So he's one of those guys who really challenges that tension between measuring how good a pitcher is in terms of results and measuring how good a pitcher is based on what we think he can control.
Yeah, it really is fascinating. Michael, can't thank you enough for joining us. He's at Michael Baumann, Baumann on Twitter. I know you have a Substack. You're a FanGraphs writer. You're right here in our backyard. We love the site. We love the work you guys do.
Absolutely.
Really fun conversation having you on, and maybe we'll have you on again sometime.
All right, we'll talk about Demolition Man more.
Yes!
And real quick, is it crown or crayon?
I mean, I say crayon. I'm from the area, but my parents aren't, so I don't. That's one of the Philly accent things.
That was the most important question, Michael, and you left on a sour note, but it's okay. We still appreciate you. We will hold it against you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Michael. We'll talk to you, buddy. See ya. That was a great conversation. I love. I'm a baseball junkie my whole life. I loved it. It was my first love in sports. And then there's guys like Tyler's one of these guys where you just go, wow, I thought I knew what I was talking about. And then you talk to somebody like that. Tyler, I know you're a FanGraphs devotee.
I think I've used FanGraphs probably every day on this job since the offseason has ended in some capacity.
Yeah.
Whether it be for those FanGraph Zips projections we were talking about, or the prospect rankings, or whatever it might be. I think that I have been on FanGraphs every day for pretty much the entirety of the offseason.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation with Michael
great.
there. Really enjoyed it. Good baseball stuff. The chat agrees.
Yeah.
Thanks for being...
Getting requests for Herb and Mike.
Yeah.
There you go.
Herb was really fun. Poor Herb. Poor Herb.
Oh, man.
All right, so obviously we got to 8% of our show sheet today.
We didn't even do that much.
There's a lot we'll save for tomorrow. We'll buzz through some of the things. One of the things Michael just touched on there was the sale of the Baltimore Orioles. And he's right. If they get an ownership group behind them now that is willing to spend at the level of John Middleton, and they're geniuses because they brought Cal Ripken in as a minority owner. Like, if there's any main vein to an Orioles fan heart, it's bring in Cal Ripken. Like, that's just great PR by them. Two, private equity billionaires. I would imagine one of them is from Baltimore, I know for a fact, so he is an Orioles fan, much like John Middleton becoming a billionaire and going, wait, I want to buy my baseball team because that sounds fun. Doesn't it? So these guys bought the team. They're bringing in Cal Ripken for the PR. It hasn't been approved by Major League Baseball yet, which is the final step, but it appears the Orioles are going to sell. They also have 6 top 100 prospects. They have the AL MVP. They also have Gunnar Henderson. And Jackson Holliday is going to make his debut opening day this year, son of Matt Holliday, who looks like he's going to be a freak. The Orioles really can establish themselves here as a major power player in Major League Baseball with this sale. Baltimore Orioles fans hate the Angelos family for what they did to their team. Kind of sucks because with those great players, as Michael said, up the middle and how important that is, the prospects behind them and now the ability to spend, the Orioles could be frightening in a year or two.
So when the Angelos family took over the Orioles in '93, Peter Angelos purchased the team for $173 million.
Ooh.
And the team has been sold for a value at $1.725 billion.
Oh, my God.
But listen, money aside, that's insane.
They're going to be good.
Yes. And right now is actually a great time for this to happen because of the buzz in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Despite the Ravens' flat performance in the AFC Championship, they still were the top team in the NFL this season. Baltimore in general, sports-wise, is in a great place. So to have that sale happen, the Orioles, of course, also recently finalized a deal with the Maryland Stadium Authority to remain at Camden Yards for the next 15 years.
Yeah, the lease, I think, was up 2032, I think it was.
Yeah, so got 15 more years they're going to be there. So, they're slowly making these moves. You can't. They're slowly making these moves to be able to really take Baltimore sports onto another level because, as we know, not everybody, much like how we are here in Philly, has the privilege of having a sports city like we do in Philadelphia. And so I think it's a great time for this. The Orioles are a team they're very good. I know you guys are talking about in the chat. We've talked about it many times. They're a very good team. And they've got a lot
and
of...
they're only going to get better.
They're only going to get better. You look at their prospects. You look at an Adley, the talent that they have. So adding in the right ownership is important to make sure you're taking that step forward and not regressing. So it's a scary time for the O's to make a sale like that.
By the way, with the Angelos ownership, one contract of over $90 million.
Hold on,
in his tenure, 30 years. The Angelos were the owners of the Orioles.
Just one
$90 million contract.
It wasn't Brady Anderson, was it?
No. I will tell you
because when he juiced, oh boy, he put up some numbers that year.
This guy that they gave the $90 million contract to is still being paid by the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh,
despite the fact that he has not been in baseball in a few years and with the Orioles in a long time. No,
he wasn't caught up in that whole Mets-Orioles fiasco. Albert Bell?
No. It was a 7-year deal for $161 up front for Chris Davis.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Because he had that. What do you have the stats from that year?
The year that he started 0 for 56 or something like that?
No, the one where he boomed. Where
it was incredible.
Yeah, can you read those numbers off?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
But by the way, looking that up,
it was 55 or 57.
I will say since the sale has happened, the GM has come out and said it's been a slow offseason, but there's still time. So I expect things to pick up. There. I expect things to pick up for the Orioles. I expect you have. Even Peter had dementia. They've had so many things that they've worked through with the Angelos family of, as you mentioned, the years of just frustration, that it's a new era in Baltimore.
And there's a big
terrifying.
There's a big fight between the Nationals and Orioles about the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network and the TV rights. And you're seeing this a lot in baseball now, where the TV rights packages are really kind of handcuffing. And I don't have all the they have money. They share money from the. They basically have a sharing revenue that they all get regardless. So the owners are fine. I'm not crying poor for them, but I do understand to a degree if that money from the TV networks isn't there. So anyway, the Nats
and Will were on it. Did you have those numbers?
Yes. Yeah. So 2013, 53 home runs, 138 RBIs. The following year in a shortened season, 26 home runs and 72 RBIs, but came back in 2015 and led the league with 47 and 117. Following year hit 38 and then really fell off a cliff.
I thought the cliff falling was much quicker.
So I mean, he did hit the year that he was hurt. He hit 196. He did hit 26 home runs and had 72 RBI, but he bounced back to 262. Led the league in strikeouts. The following year, led the league in strikeouts with 219, hit 38 home runs, and then from there, it just got worse and worse. And by the way, they have him on contract retention through this season, and then beginning next year, he has 15 years of $42 million deferred. Woo! So he's getting $2.8 million a year for the next 14 seasons.
Jamie, what are you doing here?
I was a gifted athlete.
Jeez.
Damn. All right, we're gonna buzz through just a couple little things, and then we are going to.
On our show sheet.
Yep, that's fine. We do have to get to William Bergolla,
and one of them was our guest.
All right, real quick. Orioles sold. Yankees are one of 15 teams that are checking out Noah Syndergaard's bullpen session today or tomorrow. Good luck with that, guys. John Heyman. Yesterday, I watched a 5-minute video of John Heyman talking about Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery's markets. Wow, I wish I had that 5 minutes back. Here's what it boils down to. It's anyone's guess. They've been linked to Boston, Texas, Anaheim, San Fran, Cubs, St. Louis.
Basically.
So thanks, John. Nobody knows. Corey Seager just had sports hernia surgery yesterday, which I found to be quite strange, but I guess they tried to naturally heal. Turns out it wasn't healing.
That's what they said. They tried to with rest, think it would subside. And as we saw with the Philadelphia Union and Jacob Glessness, a sports hernia, you've got to...
I was just going to say, what?
You've got to get a sports hernia.
When does naturally healing ever work out for the athlete?
A hernia does not heal on its own.
Andrew Painter tried to naturally heal. It's like, dude, just get the Tommy John.
They tried to manage it. They hoped it wouldn't get worse. They hoped they could
get the surgery.
So now they went ahead and got the surgery. Just get it.
No athlete wants to go under the knife. We get it, but it doesn't work.
It's not that big of a deal. Just go ahead and get it taken care of.
And then the Padres are interested in our old friend Michael Lorenzen. Good luck.
And not only the Padres, there's another team. Oh, the Orioles apparently are another team that has had interest in Michael
World
Lorenzen.
Series aspirations. Michael Lorenzen should not be who you're focused on.
Just saying, that's what reports are indicating.
Right, let's get to Down on the Farm and then Daily Positivity and then Guess That Swing, and we will do it quickly.
And we're not passing the 80-minute mark.
No. All right, so Down on the Farm today is number 8 on our list, and I should clarify for the purposes of the top 10 list, we are not including Orion in our top 10 list. I know he's still technically a prospect, but he's going to be on the opening day roster. He pitched in the playoffs last year. He's off our prospect list. So number 8 is William Bergolla. Name test.
Bergolla.
Sounds like a ball player to me.
I mean, it's again another one that's a junior of a former.
His dad played 17 games.
17 games with the Reds. So he's a ball player.
Yeah, sounds like a ball player to me, Tyler.
Bergolla.
You good? Now batting for the Phillies, shortstop, second baseman, William Bergolla. Junior.
I call him Bergogo.
I don't think we're going to do that. Tyler, sound like a ball player to you?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Go.
All right, he was the top choice of the international signing period for the Phillies in 2022. They signed him for $2.05 million.
Wow.
He is a middle infielder, projected to be a shortstop or second baseman. Still just 19 years old. Another one of these slender frames, 5'11", 160 pounds. Last year in low A, his slash line was 255, 351, 286, 20 RBIs, a 7.5% K rate. His dad, William Sr., as we mentioned, was a journeyman cup of coffee guy in Major League Baseball, 17 games with the Reds. On the scout projection scale, he's a 25 of 20. Explain that to me, Tyler.
So he's a 25 now.
Okay.
They project him to be a 60.
Well, the reason I ask is you don't usually see.
Well, the split is only there if it's two different things. So if a guy's a 50-50.
But I'm saying you usually don't see that far of a gap between a 60 and that low of a 25. That threw me for a loop.
Yeah, so I think the reason being
normally
is
it's like 40-60 or
A, this guy is so young, and B, if based on what we've seen in the numbers that we see of this guy, and it's the reason I included the low strikeout rate, is this guy makes contact. He's
that's
very
strong
good bat to ball hitter. Now, does that translate to hitting line drives? Does that translate to
does not hit
hitting
it
the ball
hard,
in the gap?
though.
No, it doesn't. But what that says is this guy's not going to strike out a lot. He's going to give you quality at bats, and I think that at least gives you a baseline threshold.
Sure. Okay.
And that's why they give such a disparity between what he is now and what he could be.
That's quite the disparity at 25 now, possible 60, 40, possible fielding 50, 50 on the run, 55 on the throw. His strong suit, as Tyler just said, is making contact, a plus defender up the middle, pretty strong arm. Scouts on Baseball America, for instance, project he's going to begin the year in low A again, with a shot at high A Jersey Shore by the summertime. If he adds strength, he has the ceiling of an everyday big league shortstop who can hit toward the bottom of the order. So, as we just talked about, 5'10", 165 pounds, doesn't hit for much power. Just 5% of his balls in play were hit at 95 miles an hour or higher. That's not great. But he is slender and young, and he hopefully will add strength and grow into his body and become a more powerful hitter because he knows what he's looking at. Like he can get a bat on the ball. He just can't get a ton of physicality behind it yet.
And was just 17 when that $2.2 million deal from the Phillies happened. So for William Bergolla Jr., a couple of things that I just saw to add. We talked about it, but the reports have indicated from MLB Pipeline in different spots, displayed a contact-oriented line drive approach at the plate. He is a talented defender. He projects to stick at shortstop long term, and he's a prospect worth monitoring for fantasy managers in keeper and dynasty league formats. He's got both in his bat and glove. It stood out at various points because he's shown a lot of his baseball IQ is high. But they're saying the most impressive thing about him, one of the most impressive things, is his plate discipline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I listen, he passes the name test.
HGH,
He passes
Send
the
him
name
over
test.
to Germany for some blood cycling. Let's get him bigger.
He's literally my height and about 20 pounds more than me.
How do you think you would fare facing Orion's sweeper at 95 miles an hour?
Me? Mm-hmm. Not great.
No?
Especially if I was 10 years younger. Well, not now either, but yeah, that's not that big for 5'11". That's not for a professional athlete. Like for me as a woman that's just sitting here on the show next to you, sure. But if I was out there, not great. So
I don't know. I was going to say 10 years. I was definitely a better hitter 10 years ago than I would be right now. Guaranteed.
Not me.
By the way, Michael Baumann just tweeted in, and this is mostly for Mickey Durkin. He said the bobblehead I didn't get to answer is an Ozzy Albies Lando Calrissian joint bobblehead.
Somebody did bring up Star Wars.
Okay, so yes, you did see Lando Calrissian.
I like his commitment to circle back and double check. I did see some Star Wars conversation going on. Thorough. Michael's a thorough man. He made sure you guys get all the details.
So make sure you're smashing that like button while you're
William
in here.
Bergolla passed the name test. Also looks like a baller to me.
He does.
I know they were saying
his
beard is Sir Anthony-ish. Yeah. It's giving. It's giving what it's supposed to.
Very Archbishop Ryan Northeast vibes.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I mean, Tyler agrees. He's basically from right around there.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Judge guys like the chin strap beards. I don't know what to tell you.
I love a good story of like
maybe some
your
Roman
dad
guys.
Was okay as a pro athlete, just 17 games with the Reds.
You know me, I'm a sucker for bloodlines.
And then you're going to take that torch and run with it. Passing the baton on, you're going to be better. So William Bergolla. I mean,
this top 10 list we're all going to be following throughout the year, and we'll give you updates. Obviously, the Big League Club will take priority, but we will check in on William Bergolla. Our own Vince Pellegrini here in the offices. This is like him and Starlin Caba, him and Tyler just like geek out talking about the potential of these kids. So
the only other thing is the ETA for Bergolla is 2027 that I saw in some reports. Okay. I did see some 2026. He is Rule 5 eligible December 2026.
Okay.
So just some things to keep an eye on. We got some time. Shout out to Spiral Out, though, who was correct on the bobblehead in Michael's backdrop. So yeah, you are maybe a nerd.
Yeah.
I like it. He said maybe I'm a nerd.
I read Star Wars books as a kid. You call me a nerd all you want.
I'm not a Star Wars fan. You missed our conversation yesterday about it. Tyler and I already established it, but we're short on time, so
doesn't shock me, Renee. All right, let's get to our daily positivity.
You're learning.
There's only 3 remaining, and if you're just watching us for the first time, we're doing 24 days of positivity, why this year's Phillies team is going to be better than last year's, and it's getting tough. We got 3 left. Today's is Tyler's. Tomorrow is mine. Renee's is the last day. Tyler, what do you got for us?
We're to the point now where it's like, LOL, IDK. You know what I mean? Like everything that is positive we've said at this point.
I thought mine was pretty good yesterday.
So I'm gonna go with one.
Or no, you were Renee. Mine was 2 days ago.
Could it make the Phillies better? And this guy may not be a Philly this year.
Oh boy.
And it's the fact that we are. I mean, I shouldn't say he may not be a Philly. He may not be a long-standing Philly. This may be more of a cup of coffee thing, depending on how things shape up. This should be the year we see Mick Abel make his major league debut.
Ooh.
And he is slotted in
Are
to
we
be.
manifesting this as positive?
And we'll talk about this more tomorrow. Alex
kidding.
Coffey had a story today that we weren't all able to read before we went on air that, kind of what we talked about, that he is in line to steal that 6th starter job from a Nick Nelson or whoever.
And here's the thing, guys. I think the reason that there's positivity to Mick Abel making his major league debut, regardless of how much it's going to manifest itself statistically in the win column, I think getting this guy to make his major league debut,
a mental hurdle.
It's the next step. And you mentioned the 6-man rotation, Jamie, and I do think that they are going to use the 6-man rotation.
I do too.
I would bet you it's probably a good chunk of the first half of the season. Especially when the games kind of get into that slog, June, July, August portion of the year, because I think they're going to want to keep Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez specifically fresh. You know that Wheeler's going to give you innings. You know that Nola's going to give you innings. You know that Walker's going to give you innings. But if you can, maybe even if you just shave off, 15 innings this season from Nola and Wheeler, you may have fresher arms going into the playoffs.
Okay.
Mick Abel supplements those 30 innings or so.
I like it, Tyler. We're not stretching here.
I'm not sure how many innings he pitches in 2023, but I think that
if I set the over-under at 32 1/3 innings, what would you take?
I would probably take the under. And the reason
Does
being
that seem like a fair line?
Yeah, I think so. I think the reason I would take the under is because I think he's going to get a handful of starts, and you may see him come out of the pen a little bit. But I think he's primarily going to be a starter. I think even when he starts, they're probably going to limit him to like 4 innings.
Yeah, he won't see a third time through an order.
Listen, I like it because I think McLean Stein Abel, a.k.a. Mick.
Is that what it is?
His name is McLean Stein.
Huh. I have a buddy named McLean,
Mick,
first
as
name.
In McLean. Yeah. But at 22 years old and as drafted back in 2020, I think it's time. Give him some innings.
I want to know what this kid is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think he's also at that point where it's like
he's 20. Almost 24.
He's 22.
22. Okay.
When you've been a prospect, so he's about to be 23
then.
Yeah. When you've been a prospect, there is such thing as like being there too long, and now you're, like you mentioned, the mental side, the confidence side, but also you're just chomping at the bit. Get him out there, see what he can do. And as you were talking about, Tyler, I know in the chat, Mickey's saying the same thing. Helps Wheeler and Nola. A 6-man rotation doesn't hurt, especially earlier on in the season. So I like it. Because down the stretch, that's going to pay off big time.
All right.
McLean Stein getting some innings.
Goodness, I'm done with this exercise.
You're free.
Wow.
Me and Renee have to cook up one more each.
Technically, we could always add one more because we should go all the way through the rotation.
25 does sound a little nicer than 24.
But it is 2024. We're not in 2025.
I don't know, guy. 80 sounds great, doesn't it? Sounds awesome.
All right.
You're like, I know.
All right. Let's get to Guess That Swing. And,
man, I forgot about that.
And Tyler, Spiral Out says you're bringing the heat.
By the way,
that.
Guess That Swing is picking up some national segments.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's
Ben Verlander, you're welcome. We've made it.
When you see other shows playing Guess That Swing, you just remember where you saw it first, guys.
All right, let's get to today's swing. I believe we're both on cold streaks here.
I've been on a cold streak since like day 3.
Yeah, this is not going well for me lately. Sometimes I see right-handed pitcher or batters. Sometimes I see left-handed batters. I don't even know what I see anymore. All right, Tyler, hit us.
All right, guys.
Torture chamber.
Here's your swing.
No more pitchers, right?
No more pitchers.
Right.
We won't do any more pitchers.
Oh. See, okay, is that hair? Is that an arm?
I think it's a left-handed batter.
I think Polanco yesterday really screwed you guys up, thinking it's hair and it's a hand.
Because a silhouette can be anything.
All right, I'm texting you my answer.
Great question.
K-Red asked, what's
K-Red's
today's
asking.
difficulty? I would say that this is a 3 or a 4.
Oh, that's annoying because that means I should get it, and I probably won't. Okay. So is that hair? I feel like it's hair.
I'm in.
What? We
All
are
right,
low on
Jamie
time,
is
so
locked
we'll move
in.
a little bit expeditiously.
Now, the one that was last commented there by K-Red, I could totally see.
That's what I was going to guess.
But that's not my guess.
What?
But I can totally see that.
Is it a...
I think it's his left hand up by his chin.
Again, so here's why I always see it both
I think he's taking
ways.
off running like this, and it's just kind of like a mesh, like a mush.
Because it's like, is his back to us or is his chest facing us?
I think that bulge, what up,
Oh, no.
is actually his hand by his chin.
I'm just going to go with what I feel.
All right. Just fire.
Is this a righty or a lefty?
We got Bagels and Company out there.
We do have food waiting for us.
Yeah, we got schmears and cream cheeses waiting for
I
us.
don't like the word schmear.
I love the word schmear.
Always say schmears.
Yeah, because it's a fun word to say.
You do.
Who doesn't like saying schmear? An SC into an H? It's great. Schmear.
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 I want to get myself some schmears.
All right, Jamie's locked in.
Oh,
Renee?
okay. Oh, my God.
I'm going to go smear up my bagel right after this, thanks to Bagels and
I'm
Company.
going to...
All right, Renee's answer is locked in.
All right.
Have you heard a correct answer?
For the first time in multiple days, somebody is right.
Oh, so it's either Marsh or Stott.
Jamie guessed Bryson
you said
Stott.
Bryson Stott?
Renee
Yeah.
guessed Brandon
Wait.
Marsh. That is not a hand. It is a beard.
Ah, damn it.
Finally!
Damn it. Because
Look how close his hand is to his beard.
Yeah.
It could be a hand.
So that's why I thought it was his hand.
Oh, man. I'm so glad I went with my gut and did not Alec Bohm this one.
Because him and both
is
Stott and
happening?
Marsh have that.
I don't know what's happening here. This is going off the rails.
Their
graphic difficulty.
their follow throughs both point the bat up. So that's why I thought it was Stott. Damn.
Oh, my arms are sore. Wow. Jeez.
Congrats on your win, Renee. That was
you,
a nice
Jamie.
one. Somebody had to end the cold streak. Good job.
Good job, everybody. We got a lot of Marches in the chat.
Yeah.
Randy, Spiral, K-Red.
K-Red nailed it.
Yeah, you were first to say it.
Thank you to Michael Baumann from FanGraphs for joining us today. I know tomorrow we're going to be talking to a minor league announcer, which should be a different perspective on baseball and a lot of fun. Thanks to Tyler for booking that one. For Tyler, Renee, myself, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We love you. We mean that. Hit that like button. We're going to go eat some schmears from Bagels and Company. And we have a whole show sheet for tomorrow that we didn't even use today. But we will talk Steven Seagal, crowns, and shells if you'd like.
Yeah, and good job on your homemade coffee. There's
Thank
a win
you.
for
Thank
today.
you. I did it. Woo.
What's in the bottom of it?
The iced coffee sediment. That's just kind of gross.
Nah.
Bean water. We will be back tomorrow at noon. And then next week, we're going to be starting every day at 11 a.m. New time for us here to accommodate some PHLY ongoings. So we're going to be shifting a little bit next week, an hour earlier. But the rest of the week, we're going to be here at noon time. 14 days to pitchers and catchers. 57 till opening day. City Connect jersey, if that's real, sucks. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the PHLY Phillies show. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.